An independent committee reviewing expenses, gift-giving, and overseas trips by ICAC officers has submitted its report to the chief executive. The government intends to make it public in a suitable manner once it sought legal advice on how to handle the report's findings. Here's Jenny Lam again.
The committee reviewing the ICAC's regulatory systems and procedures for handling official entertainment was set up following revelations the anti-graft agency's former chief, Timothy Tong, spent taxpayers' money on alcohol and claimed expenses way beyond what would be considered reasonable. Tong attended 3 hearings of the Finance Committee when LegCo exercised its powers and privileges. That meant what Tong said at the hearings could not be used in a criminal prosecution against him. But he couldn't use an ICAC probe as an excuse not to answer questions. The hearing revealed that over his 5 years at the ICAC, Tong bought more than 1,000 bottles of alcohol. According to Gary Chan of the Democratic Alliance for the Betterment and Progress of Hong Kong, that included 125 bottles of spirits, 114 of which were for Tong's personal consumption. Tong himself questioned if averaging at 2 bottles a month was excessive. He also made more than 30 trips outside Hong Kong and spent more than $3 million of taxpayers' money on entertainment. The chief executive set up the independent committee in May, headed by Chow Chung-kwong. It's tasked with reviewing expense claims, gifting and overseas trips. The committee has submitted its report to the chief executive. The content will not be made public right away, sources say, to avoid compromising the ICAC's criminal investigation. The government will seek legal advice on the parts which might hold certain people criminally liable. Jenny Lam, TVB News.
Turning overseas now, and in the United States, the Obama administration is gearing up for the biggest foreign policy vote since the Iraq War. This after President Barack Obama decided to seek congressional approval before launching a military attack on Syria. Alan Buckner reports.
Members of Congress were told Sunday that the U.S. now has proof that sarin gas was used in a deadly attack in Syria on August 21st. That attack left more than 1,400 people dead, including more than 400 children. And the U.S. is blaming the government of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. But Obama is finding resistance to a military strike, even from members of his own party.
Is there another way to hold Assad accountable? This is what the international community wants to do. We want to hold him accountable. We want there to be some consequences. What is that? Is that just going to war? Is that bombing? Is that killing more people? I'm not there yet.
In my mind, it's far from settled. It's not something that should be undertaken lightly. Certainly the mood at the district that I represent is do not do this, and I honestly didn't hear anything that told me I ought to have a different position.
But there is also the feeling among some that Obama should take military action against Syria without going to Congress for approval, something in his power as president.
When the President of the United States said that that it was a red line, he didn't say that it's a red line and, by the way, I'm going to have to seek the approval of Congress. He said it was a red line and the United States of America would act. And that is a big difference, and that's one of the reasons why this is so problematic.
Obama's step back is being hailed as a victory in Syria.
It has become very clear for the American people and for the international public opinion that the allegations made by Obama and his foreign secretary are incorrect and absolutely a big lie.
The U.S. Congress will tackle the issue when it reconvenes on September 9th. Alan Buckner, TVB News.
North and South Korean officials began meetings today to discuss the reopening of the Kaesong Industrial Complex. The complex that is jointly operated by the North and South has been closed since early April. Pyongyang pulled out its 53,000 workers at the height of nuclear tensions and following military exercises by South Korea and the United States. The South Korean delegation departed for the talks this morning amid signs of diminishing tension with the North. The industrial complex, the main economic link between the two Koreas, generates about $90 million in wages annually for the North Korean workers.
Hundreds of protesters in Mexico City clashed yesterday with police outside Congress, where lawmakers opened session. Student protesters, some of whom were hooded, threw rocks at riot police as teachers striking against proposed education reforms tried to block access to Congress. Demonstrators started a fire and took to throwing Molotov cocktails at the thousands of police surrounding the building. Police officers responded with tear gas and detained at least one student. The young people came largely from the anti-government group I Am 132 and called for the ouster of President Enrique Peña Nieto. The teachers are protesting sweeping changes that alter the way they would be hired, evaluated, and promoted. Welcome back. The seaworthiness of a boat used by local Diaoyu activists was once again challenged by authorities. As Stephanie Choi reports, the Marine Department says it has found more defects on board the vessel.
Inspectors from the Marine Department arrived at the Shaokei-wan Typhoon Shelter early this morning to examine the boat Kaifeng No. 2. During the last inspection, 41 defects were found. Chairman of the Action Committee for Defending the Diaoyus, Lo Chao, said the authorities found 2 more defects this morning: the lack of steel panels covering the front wall of the pilot house and unsafe confined spaces. Authorities have issued 6 new orders, including adding a fire hose, strengthening railings, automating kitchen doors, and boarding up hatches. Lo is suspicious of the motives behind the new orders. He said he is convinced that the authorities are deliberately making things difficult for them with their never-ending requests. While he could not estimate the cost of the renovation, he is certain that their funds will be sufficient. Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
Swimmers took their last lap at the Victoria Park swimming pool yesterday. After more than 50 years, Hong Kong's first public swimming pool was closed to make way for a new high-tech complex next door. Ronnie Samtani has that story.
The traditional structures, the commemorative plaque for its grand opening, the outdoor pool, and the spectators' grandstand will all be a distant memory. The 56-year-old pool closed yesterday and will be replaced by a brand new swimming complex.
Our new pool is designed for holding some terrestrial swimming competition events in future. It can meet the international standard for the swimming competition and also diving, synchronized swimming, and also water polo activity. But for the old pool, it has been outdated and many facilities have been deteriorated.
The Victoria Park swimming pool opened in 1957 by then-Governor Sir Alexander Grantham and was Hong Kong's first public pool. Members of the public can take one last look this week, after which it will be demolished to make way for a new handball court and skating rink. Its replacement, a high-tech complex, will open on September 16th. It will house 2 indoor heated pools and the largest pool spectator stand in Hong Kong, with seating for up to 2,500 people. The main pool measures 50 by 25 meters and the multi-purpose pool is 33 by 25 meters. New facilities include diving platforms and springboards of various heights to satisfy international standards for diving competitions.
One of the cool new features of the new swimming pool is the movable floor. The depth of the swimming pool can be changed between 0 to 5 meters to suit different swimming competitions. Ronnie Samtani, TVB News.
And finally, a 22-year-old girl who grew up in Canada has become the new Miss Hong Kong. Grace Chan received the highest number of votes from a panel of judges and the general public during last night's beauty pageant. Stephanie Choi reports.
Miss Hong Kong 2013, first runner-up is Cicely, and the winner is Grace.
Grace Chan beat 9 other finalists at the Miss Hong Kong pageant organized by TVB last night. She also grabbed the title of Miss Photogenic. Apart from getting the highest number of votes from the judges, the university graduate who grew up in Canada was also the people's choice for the top title, winning more than 170,000 popular votes.
I feel very honored to be part of the system and to come out as the winner as well. And I'm just so grateful for this opportunity to have the judges' acceptance of me as well as the audience acceptance.
She will be representing Hong Kong in other beauty pageants around the world. First runner-up in the Miss Hong Kong contest was Cicely Choi, and second runner-up, Moon Lau. Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
And that is one beautiful wrap of our news. Thanks for watching.
Good night.